Hello everyone and welcome on De Papier de Rêve channel. I'm Ursula and today I will be painting with you some plumbago flowers. I'm not exactly sure that this is the real name of this plant, but if you want to help me, I will put the picture of the plant, my reference image for this painting, on my blog. I will put the link in the description below so that you can see it by yourself and maybe help me to find exactly what flower it is. I have found this plant during a walk in Barcelona. Now the parks and garden are open for the public to walk in, so it's a really nice change, and I can have some inspiration from gardens and parks here in Barcelona, so it's really helpful for me. So I found this flower, these plants, during a walk, and I found them very interesting because they are very delicate and the colors are really pretty. It's a mix of blue, lavender, maybe it's called periwinkle in English, I'm not sure, but it's a really delicate flower, and I wanted to paint that. So I started my first layer on wet paper. As you know, on my last video I had trouble with the dryness of my paper. It was not drying like it used to, so I decided to start with a wet paper so that it will be a little bit easier for me to blend the color and have time to work on my paper. And for that kind of delicate flower, I think it's very helpful to work with wet paper. It helps a lot with delicacy and also the color blendings, and it helps to be a little bit more poetic, I feel. I've started with a really big brush to get a big splash of color on my paper really quickly. But now I'm changing my brush for a smaller one so that I can add colors a little bit with more delicacy and finesse, so I can manage my color placement a little bit more. And you'll see during this first layer I will move the paper around a bit at multiple times because I want my color to move on the paper, and the gravity can help for the color to move, for the water to move on the paper. So I like to tilt my paper in a way and in another so that everything is really blending and really blurry. And my theme today with the plumbago flower is really perfect to play with some colors that I like a lot right now, like lavender and wisteria and manganese blue, because they are really soft color and very light colors, and that's a perfect mix of color for this plumbago flower. In order to finish this first layer, I've infused a little bit of white gouache on my wet wash so that it will diffuse and lighten some area. And I wanted to create a little bit of a texture in some place, and I think that gouache and opaque watercolor are quite good to do that, and it's still stay very soft and delicate. And at the end of this first layer you can see there is no hard edges at all here. Everything is really soft, and that's exactly what I want. So as I'm happy with it, I will let it dry totally before starting the second layer. The second layer is always for me the part where things can be a little bit difficult, and today they are difficult just because of my theme. The plumbago flowers are quite light against a dark background, so I have to work with negative painting to make them appear on my paper. It's quite hard at first to manage this technique, but with sometimes some exercise and some patience, it's really a nice technique to know about and to work with. So in this painting, I'm defining some flowers, so they are quite light on a dark background. So I'm painting around them with indent blue, which is a really dark blue that mixes really well with my colors that I have applied on my first layer, like lavender, wisteria, and manganese blue. I like to start with very dark color at first and then diffusing them a little bit, soften some edges around them so that they blend totally with the background. When painting with this negative painting technique, you have to be very patient with your work and make some layers upon layers upon layers to have the best effect possible. So I'm quite happy with this layer, and I will let it dry totally before adding another layer, and during the dry time I will talk you through my supplies. For the brushes, I'm using an Escoda Último number 18 and an Escoda Último number 8 rigger, and a silver brush Black Velvet 1/4 inch in a dagger shape. For the colors, I'm using indent blue, Amazonite Genuine, Nickel Azo Yellow, Lavender, Wisteria, and Manganese Blue Hue. I'm also using some opaque white from Schmincke, and my paper is from Arches in Rough. I've started my third layer with a mistake. You can see there is a splash of green at the top, but I'm not worrying too much about it just because it's totally wet and I can add a lot of water and it will blend and almost disappear at all. So there is no problem here. For this third layer, I will continue my work from the second layer. I will continue building the layer of negative painting so that you can see the flower appears one by one on my paper. And as the left side of my paper is quite dark, I will use even darker color to make the flower appears a little bit lighter. And for the foliage and the depth in this painting, I'm still using indent blue mixed with a little bit of Amazonite Genuine. This combo of color is really beautiful because I can have quite a soft turquoise with this mix, and I love it. I think it blends really well with all the violet and soft blue tones of the flower, and it's a really balanced mix of color in this painting. I'm almost using just cold colors: indent blue, Amazonite Genuine, lavender, wisteria, manganese blue hue. All these colors are really cool, so I like to add a splash of nickel azo yellow here and there, so that you have an idea of the sun shining on some leaves, and there is a lot of light and warmth at this place. And it makes all the other color a little bit cooler. And with all these colors, and especially the cold colors, I can express the freshness of this painting, the freshness of these flowers, and I can add a little bit of my feelings into the painting. And maybe in the real life everything was not as cool as I paint them, but I felt very fresh and very peaceful looking at this flower, and that's what I want to show you in my painting. So I'm using colors, I'm using shapes, I'm using softness and hard edges to convey these feelings and make this painting and this subject totally mine. And the more I see this painting and the more I talk about it, I think it's not totally finished yet. I have some work to do, I think. Maybe I will do it, maybe I will wait a little bit, I don't know yet. But I think I can do a little bit more in this painting to make the flower appear a little bit more too. And this video is now ending. Thanks for watching and I hope you like it. Please check the blog post for more information about this painting and tell me what you think in the comments. See you soon.